Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending where you are. How are you doing? Welcome once again to Time to Talk. Hello, Guilherme. How are you doing today?
Hi, Rafael. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here. Another great evening or afternoon, depending where you are. And we are very happy to be here again. It's a great pleasure.
I want to say thank you, everyone, for joining us again. Please drop a hi on your comments so we can give you a shout. Um, Guilherme and I, we are here once again. We're here every couple of weeks. We're the co-hosts of this program. Our housekeeping rules are very simple. You send your questions and messages online, and we'll read them live and talk about it. So we want to be as chatty as possible. Use our comments box to participate. The messages that I always have to go through, it won't be different today, is what are the groups behind this initiative? First of all, this initiative is brought to you by the Spiritist Society of London, SSL. Guilherme and I are members of SSL. SSL is a group that studies the Spiritist teachings every Tuesdays online and every Thursdays with presential groups. So if you'd like to join us or be involved, check our page on Facebook. SSL is part of BUS, is affiliated to BUS. BUS is the British Union of Spiritist Societies, which again works as an umbrella organization that unites all of the Spiritist groups present in the UK. And our third broadcaster is Kardec Radio, with over 10 years bringing a lot of content to you on Spiritism. Common elements with all these three institutions: spreading the word on Spiritism, spreading the knowledge about the Spiritist teachings. Go check them out, like their page on Facebook and YouTube. Today, I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to recap anything. I want to actually jump straight into what our question is. And I just want to say that considering the amazing participation that we had last week, we were just very thrilled about the comments, the participation, and we are hoping that today is going to be just the same. So let me, first of all, check who is here with us. Hi, Elsa. Guess what? Bruce is here with us. Thank you, Bruce, for joining us once again, straight from the US. We also have Evan. Oh, hi, Evan. First time watching us. Welcome to our session. Please drop your messages and comments, and we will try to incorporate and look into them as we speak. So, as I was saying, last week we started talking about, can I become a medium, as a general question, right? Before that, we were talking a lot about the existence of souls, perispirits, spiritual bodies, the influence of spirits in our lives, and last week we finally started to talk about becoming a medium. Is this something that anybody can do? What kind of different mediums we have? What is mediumship? How can we develop that? Can we develop that? And so on. And I thought it was quite an interesting topic. And I felt we got so much from everybody watching that we feel like there's a lot more to dig. I think we opened a can of worms, and the idea for us today is to address that even more. So, what I want to kick off, I guess, our conversations with is with a few highlights from what we were discussing last week, right? Mediumship is a natural thing. is as natural as any other sense, as natural as vision, as natural as being able to feel, hear, and so on, and taste. It has always been present. Excuse me. It's always been present in history, and will always be. It is not something limited or linked exclusively with Spiritism. As we said, is a natural occurrence. It is a natural phenomenon. And in a sense, we also mentioned that we are all mediums because we all have a level of sensitivity through which we connect and communicate with spirits. But not all of us are ostensive mediums, meaning ostensive people that can actually hear, see, or materialize through their skills, let's say. And not all of us are ostensive mediums because this is a characteristic that is given to people according to their needs or their missions. So you can't really develop it if it isn't part of you already. And what you can do is something that Munir, who was joining us last week, and he put in a very nice term. So what you can do is educate your skill. And before I kick off the discussions, I want to bring back a very, I guess, important question from the Spiritist book that we read last week. It's the question 459. Do spirits have any influence on our thoughts and actions? The spirits answered, their influence on you in this regard is greater than you suppose. For very frequently, it is they who guide you. Going back to the points that we are all mediums and we're in constant exchange. That question I want to link to a reflection related to people wanting to, or either people, and maybe let me open this question to the group who is joining. Let me also say hello to Young Marcus. And it's more of a question to you. It would be, what made you interested in this program? Because from what we were talking last week, maybe you have a curiosity on the subject, and that's why you are joining this conversation. Maybe you have the idea or the urge that you'd like to become a medium. And in that sense, what I would, I guess, recommend, I would encourage you to think about the why. Why would you want to become a developed mediumship? Because if it is to feed any personal curiosity, I would ask you to reflect if that is a strong or good enough reason why God would have entrusted that skill to you. And then going back to the Spiritist question, what kind of spirits would be willing to collaborate with you? If the reason behind you want to develop that, it is more of a selfish curiosity or interest. Would it be spirits committed to serious work, involved in doing good, committed to serious work? And together with that, I think that's just a reflection for you to think about. If that is the case, together with that reflection, I would always recommend to go study the Mediums book. And you can find the Mediums book online for you to download for free. You have a link at the end of the presentation. But I mean study. I don't mean just reading about it. I mean study, because you should read and reflect on every single paragraph. What's the message behind every single paragraph? Because that book is pretty much like a playbook on how you understand and how to run serious seances. So that could be one reason why you are involved in or you are tuned in our program. But there could also be another reason. Maybe you are experiencing things that are indicating to you that you are an ostensive medium, like seeing, hearing, feeling things. So I would again recommend for you to start paying attention to what's going on, what exactly is that you're experiencing, understand if there isn't any other source behind these effects. I would tell you, don't panic. This is a natural thing, as we were talking about. I would then say look for an institution or a group that you trust so they can help you understand what is happening, learn how to put that skill to good work. By the way, we can help you if you're going through any of these things. We can help you connect to groups that are local to you. They can help you out. So reach out and we can help out doing that connection. Drop us a note. But just like in the first case, in the second case, the second thing I would say in parallel is same thing. Go study the Medium's book. There will be a lot there that will help you all understand what's going on. Anyways, what I want to ask you people now is, are you in one of these categories? Are you going through experiencing anything that might indicate that you are an ostensive medium? Or do you have the intention to become one, and why would that be? Please drop your messages so we can start the discussion. Guilherme, I'm going to turn to you. And let me bring the spirits book question back here on us. We were talking a lot about why some people are or come in this life with the skill to be ostensive mediums and not. If it is that a merit, does that mean that they are enlightened spirits? Does that mean that they are special? And while others do not have that ostensive mediumship. So I will ask you to kind of remind us about that, a bit of that conversation.
Okay. Well, let me start talking about a question that was raised last time we were together, where I don't remember the name of the person, but I think it was she, but asked if had to be an evolved spirit to be a medium, an evolved person. And I was thinking about that after our encounter, that say something that may be a bit strange to some people, but no, we don't need to be evolved at all to be a medium. And by the way, some animals that are even very close to us, they can have some symptoms of mediumship. Oh dear, I just opened a can of worms, right? And quite often we relate mediumship to the ability, let me call that ability, to see spirits, right? Yes. Some of our friend animals, they can see the spirits too. Cats. Well, talking about cats, we spoke about Oscar. I think it was our first encounter, right? The cat from the clinic. Dogs, horses, they are very, very sensitive as well. So, saying that, how evolved are they? That brings to us that mediumship is physical. And why we came to this earth, this incarnation, with mediumship. This is not a bonus. This is a way to learn. Mediumship is a path to learn something that we left behind some inconclusive experiences, maybe. It's something that we have this incarnation to learn how to help people, how to start to really understand the meaning of the word love. Because when you are medium, you see things, you hear things, and you being used as a medium, as a, how can I say that, as a go-between between the spiritual world and the physical world, is to help people. And as we do put ourselves in this situation to help people, in the reality, we are helping ourselves. So we are not special because we have mediumship. We are not prophets. We are not gifted, as some people think they are. But in a sense, we are gifted with the opportunity to learn how to do good with that characteristic, how to evolve. If we are medium, we will see a lot of suffering situations, and we would be very, very happy if we learn with other people suffering instead of learning through our own experiences. So mediumship is that. In my eyes, mediumship is a way to learn and to help. It is not a burden, as some people may say. It is not a gift. It's a tool. We've been given a tool, and if we know how to use that tool properly, we will help ourselves and other people. I hope I have answered your question.
You did. I want to bring a little video. Now, I always like to bring little videos to kind of just help start our conversation and so on. And this video is from iSpirit, or the Spiritist Academy, and it touches a little bit about, am I a medium? Quite kind of question. So let's take a look. It's just short in 2 minutes, like 2 minutes and a bit. So bear with me.
Hearing voices is a very common human experience, and sometimes it can happen during a period of time, or some people more regularity. What you need to think about when you're hearing voices, is what are the voices saying to you? Is this disturbing you? Is this affecting your daily life? Is this affecting your mental health? So if it's affecting your mental health, you need to be thinking, do I need to see a doctor? And see what's going on. Some people who have what we call mediumship, that means the ability to hear the spirits from the other side, they can hear the spirits. So what spirits do we hear? The spirits that are linked to us, that are familiar to us, that are on the same wavelength as us. So if you're hearing spirits giving you not so good suggestions, then you need to think about how are you going to improve your own thought process so that that doesn't mean anything to you. So for example, if they're suggesting, oh, let's go and have a drink, or let's have more drinks, this kind of thing, but you're a person who doesn't drink, you're probably not going to be tempted. But if you're still struggling and thinking that you would like to have a drink, then that'll be harder for you. So it's about thinking about, it's like any friend. Whatever a friend says to you, you can follow what they say or not. You have always 100% control over your own decisions. It is when they say things that have, like, say, mirror what you might be interested in, that you find temptation or difficulty. Spirits can come through and give us intuition messages. So some people can hear it as a loud voice, or some people can hear it as a voice in their head, but saying, what is this voice telling me? And if this was my friend from next door saying this, would I listen or would I not? So it's just having that difference about not thinking, oh, this is something that's coming from the spiritual world, I need to follow this. No, this is a suggestion. Is it good? Is it bad? You make up your mind if you follow it or not. If you think, like even in the Bible, Paul says we are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses. So the spiritual world is, because we're thinking of our world here, and if we don't see things, we think they don't exist. But just imagine all the waves of all the cell phones, of all the TVs and everything that's going around everywhere, with communication going on at the moment that we are not tuning into. These things, they are around us all the time. So we might tune in and we might not. So we need to take control about what we're listening to. So change the channel if we're not liking what it is. So we can make an effort to change what channel we're listening into.
Right. And it just goes back to, I'm going to bring the same question from the Spiritist book here again, right? It takes us back to, to the Spiritist book's question that says, their influence on your regard, in this regard, is greater than you suppose. One of the big elements of this video that we mentioned is how the spirits that are connected to us through affinity. And if you extrapolate that into being a medium and receiving messages, the messages that you receive will be from spirits that are in the same, in a wavelength that they can connect with you. There is a specific, and I think the video is brilliant in that point, there's a very specific recommendation, which is you should be reflecting and aware of your thoughts and your feelings and so on, to understand like the ideas and suggestions that come to your mind. They are an indication, it can be an indication of the spiritual companions that are near you. And it is by listening to these and selecting which ones it makes sense for you to follow and act on, that you clear or you allow yourself to connect with spiritual companions that might be more enlightened or less enlightened, that might be connected to you because you are committed to specific initiatives and work, or other activities that might be not as, let's say, enlightened. Let's say enlightened. What do you think about that, Guilherme?
I think that 2 minutes a little bit more video brought few things to us that we should analyze together. Okay? Do we know ourselves? I think that's a pretty safe question. I know myself. I know what I like. I know what I like to eat. I know what I like to hear. I know what I like to dress. If for any reason, let me just put a picture here. In some parts of the globe, some people used to put a pepperoni pizza with some slices of pineapple. Some places, this is no way to go. People really hate pepperoni pizza with pineapple. This is something that people believe will destroy the whole pizza. And I, in particular, don't like anything with a pepperoni pizza. In that case, pineapple. Suddenly, I start to ask the waiter to what I want, and I start to ask him to add pineapple. I don't like pineapple. Ask the waiter for pineapple in your pizza. I really don't like pineapple. Okay, then, ask him pineapple with pepper. I don't like both. Because sometimes when you hear through your ears and you don't see anybody around you, you can think about that. Yeah, it can be from the spiritual world. But when you hear a thought inside your head, it's a bit more difficult to identify where it's coming from. So knowing ourselves will help us to identify if it's my own thought or someone else's thought. So pizza was just a prime example, but could be anything. Change that thing, You did that for so many years. Now it's time to change. But I do not like it. change now when you do it. Extending that line of conversation to something that's pretty bad. Jump in front of the train. You are waiting for your next train. Come on, jump. Will be nice. Jump. Yeah, well, you don't need to leave anymore. You had a long life already. You're 25 years old. Jump. And you do not have reasons to do it. You never had that kind of thought before. So we need to pay attention to what we hear and compare to what we are, what we know. So that would be the first thing I would bring to our attention. If you hear anything, like someone is speaking beside you or inside your head, and the results of what you're listening will help someone, will help your community, will help yourself. If the results are good, in any shape or form, fair enough. I'm helping my community, my friend, my neighbor. I'm helping. The results are positive. But the opposite is also true. If any of those thoughts or anything you're listening, anything you hear, you know the results won't be positive. Think twice. Think a little bit more. Because we all know what is right and what is not right. Yeah. Do you hit your finger with a hammer? You don't. By accident, perhaps, and it's very painful. Yeah. But you won't hit your own finger just for fun.
True. Right? Let me give you a shout to a couple of people that joined us as well. I want to say hello to Priya, hello to Faye, hello to Nancy. Thanks for joining us. And Elsa mentioned here that actually in this video we have Anne Christine Sinclair, which was one of the bus founders. So thanks, Elsa, for that shout. And I want to bring a comment from Bruce, which is quite a good one. He mentions that he believes that on the human material level, our world will begin to awaken when telepathy becomes the norm in human experiences. I believe in the material, this is the beginning of mediumship. And it's quite an interesting example. I think, remember like last week or a few weeks ago, Guilherme was mentioning that sometimes we have examples like this when we are thinking about someone, or when you get the impression that somebody is in danger, or a lot of people talk about that in their own family or close friends, and you can get that feeling that something is wrong or something is happening with that specific person. And to a certain level, there is a connection between you and that person on a spiritual level. There's a wavelength, there's an ethereal connection that links two people. But for you to be able to send and receive that, you both need to have the connection. You both need to be in a similar wavelength, so that communication, let's say, can happen. And that's pretty much what Guilherme was saying. I think that there's an element of understanding and educating your awareness, so you can start to appreciate the suggestions that come to your mind, the messages that you receive, if they come from a elevated place or from a materialistic place. I also want to bring a message from Priya, which I think it's a very interesting one. Priya is saying that I feel I have sometimes spirits come and talk to me when I am completely unconscious. Then she goes and says it's completely random. Priya, share a bit more with us if you feel comfortable. How those things work, and how does that impression reach you? That we were talking about ostensive mediumship the other day, and we were talking about there is no two mediums that are exactly the same. Like mediumship express itself in a very different way based on your own characteristics, experience, preparation, studies, and so on. But the way Priya was talking about it, it reminded me of the case I brought to you maybe a few episodes ago, where I have somebody who's very close to me who is an sensitive medium, and the way they receive messages is through mental images. So when they are participating in a seance, in a mediumship meeting, they do not hear the spirit itself, they do not see the spirit itself, but the image of what the spirit is feeling or experiencing appears in their mind, and the feelings that the spirit is feeling related to that image, to that situation, they feel as well. So it'll be interesting to hear from Priya how that works and how that happens for her. She just mentioned. She said it's like random thoughts that make more sense in day-to-day life. It's more like ideas, answer, clarification, or thought about someone, which is a very good example of what Guilherme was talking about it. Guilherme, you look like you have something to add.
Well, what Priya says, there are two ways that thing may happen. Okay, when we are conscious, when we are awakened, we can have that level of information that comes and goes eventually. Somebody come up close to you and pass the message. And that also can happen when we are sleeping. But it's so real, especially when we start to get our conscience back, that we know there was not a dream, there was something else. And then through the day, you see that, well, yeah, I heard that. I was told that, and he is the proof, or he is the consequence of what I did, and it's positive. So yeah, that's normal, Priya. And don't need to be afraid if the results are always positive. If the results are not that positive, I would say need to be more careful, pay more attention, always use your reason, always ask yourself once, twice, even more, why I hear that? What is the objective? What will be the result of it? And then ask for a second opinion, ask someone that may be able to help, to assist. But that's nice. That is not uncommon. I think that, and Rafael, taking the opportunity, speaking to, she just said, yes, it is like I became aware. Very good. Using the sentence from Bruce and the video, there is something very, very important. Tuning. You select the kind of music you want to hear. You also have the dial to select the kind of spirits that will be around you. And we were talking about that earlier today, right? And you have a choice. You have a choice. We always have a choice. If you choose to be with nice friends, it doesn't mean that they are good friends or bad friends. They can be friends, but it's up to you to decide if what this particular friend is offering you will be good to you or not. Just use an example. If this friend is telling you to help young kids, yeah, he's pretty good. He's pushing you to do something that will be good for you and for the kids. On the other hand, if this friend is telling you to stand a bit longer in a pub or doing something that won't be good for your own body, that's not very good advice, I would say. So we have to make a choice. And when we decide what kind of tuning you want, isn't it?
I want to talk a little bit about that tuning, because it connects nicely with a question we received a few weeks ago. So Natalia sent to us a question, and it goes hand in hand with what we were talking about, with that tuning, with the right spirits, with the right companions, let's say. And Natalia sent to us this question here. Let me share my screen once again. Does Spiritism believe in aura, and is there a connection with perispirit? Here we go, talk about perispirit again, which is probably one of the things that we will cover multiple times. As a reminder, perispirit is the spiritual body that we carry with us after death, and is the connection between our soul and our physical body, in simplistic terms. To answer to that question from Natalia, I have a few passages from a couple of books by André Luiz, where he explained in detail about that topic. And let's have a look. So the first one is from the book Action and Reaction. And chapter 13, Guilherme is describing something that he's witnessing. So in Sabino's very spiritual field, we observed through his dark green aura that all energies from his own vibrations were retrofeeding their points of origin, giving us the impression that he was encapsulated in himself, like a caterpillar in its own cocoon. Very graphic description, right? He's not only mentioning the word aura, he's actually saying that that specific person that he was observing was so connected to its own energy that what he was expelling, it was feeding back into him in a way that he felt like he was completely involved, encapsulated in the energy that he was creating. I also quite like the fact that he uses dark green, which is also an indication that you have perceptive visual characteristics to things. Of course, they are matter, right? Even though they're more ethereal, they're still matter. Guilherme, I see you have a smile on your face. Do you want to mention anything before I go to my next passage?
Yes.
Of course you do.
Well, depending who you ask, you say no, Spiritism don't believe it. But there's a lot of people that really, really study, and some people that don't study that much. So here is a prime example through Francisco Xavier, that's a very reliable medium, through a very reliable spirit that brought tremendous amount of knowledge to us over the years, right? So aura, yes, we do believe in aura, okay? We have mediums that can see people's aura. There are some scientists that are working in the Killian principle in Russia, trying to develop equipment to identify diseases through the aura. Because when you do have some diseases in a particular area, for example, that area has a different color. That's also a way that some mediums identify that this particular organ is not in balance, at least. Perhaps not, the person does not have a disease yet, but this particular organ is outbalanced. So just that little note. I'll let you go.
Okay, good. Next one is also from another book from André Luiz. It's from Evolution in Two Worlds. Chapter 17, and it goes like this. The aura is the platform omnipresent in all communications with external roots, in all activities of exchange with the life that surrounds us, through which we are seen and examined by the superior intelligences, felt and recognized by our similar peers, and feared and harassed or loved and helped by the brothers and sisters in an inferior position. So, to answer Natalia's question in a very clear way, yes, we do have auras, and yes, it's connected to the perispirits. What we commonly call aura is, in fact, also part of our perispirits, in the sense that it's the energy that is emanating from us in a way. As we said before, it plays a huge part in allowing the communications to happen, and through what types of spirits. I wanna make this even more clear and bring another parallel here with our material world, right? And if you think about environments that we go, if our senses, right, we can see, we can smell, we can taste, and we go into situations and environments where you can perceive there's something in the environments that maybe doesn't smell right. So that smell takes over the environment. It might be to a point that you get there, and it's such a strong smell that you cannot handle it. You cannot stay in that environment. Same thing is if you go to a room that is so bright and you don't have any ways of protecting your eyes, it might be difficult for you to just stay there or to keep your eyes open. So now we understand that we have this aura, which is pretty much what the energy emanates and surrounds us, which is connected to our thoughts, our actions, our priorities, our commitments, our spiritual friends. Imagine that if for us, with this very simple and heavy senses that we have in this body, it's difficult to be in an environment where there's something, there's a smell, or there's too much light, there's too much noise in there, they cannot stay there. Imagine for a spirit who is more ethereal, has a less dense perispirit, to be connected and stay in an environment or connected to a medium that has an aura or a perispirit or an energy field, let's call it, who is heavily marked by negative thoughts, wrong decisions, abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, any kind of abuse that you want. Why wouldn't that be a similar challenge for a higher spirit to be involved in that, to be in that environment, to be connected, to allow that? We talked about a few days ago that the connection between a medium and spirit, it happens from perispirit to perispirit. So imagine how difficult it would be for a higher spirit with a more ethereal body to connect to that aura, that environment.
May I also give another kind of example?
Yes, of course.
Right. The example you give is perfect, but I would like to give something different. I think we all know a light bulb, what it is, right?
Light bulb, yeah.
Simple.
Ding.
We are like a light bulb. Depending on our frequency, depending on how we decide to illuminate ourselves, let me put it this way, we can have a couple of millimeters, centimeters outside my bulb, and that will be my aura. Or I can bring light for the whole room or for the whole house, for example, and we know that some people aura take a couple of 100 meters through some mediums, maybe even more than that. So the aura is the result of your vibration turning into light. Light that is not perceived by our average eyes, but it is perceived by mediums and by the spirits. When Rafael was showing us that the spirits are among us and they practically drive us all the way through our existence, we cannot lie to the spirits because they see through our aura, through the color of our aura, if you are okay, if you're not okay, if we have diseases, if we are thinking something very stupid or not. We all can improve our aura. We can say that our aura is one of the defense barriers of ourselves. How can we improve our aura? Do good, be nice with people, keep our mouth shut when we don't need to say anything, because we are very nice with some people we like, but we are not that nice with people we don't like. So things like that, over the period of time, over an exercise period, will improve our aura. So aura is not only when we are incarnated. Aura is the vibration of your perispirit as well. So we will have aura here and there. And through this color, we will reflect how good we are. This example was dark green. Dark is not very good, huh? Light green will be better. And things like that.
I want to say hello to Ebony Paris. She just joined us as well. And I want to link back that conversation about aura, energy, the quality of our perispirit coming from our decisions, our actions, our thoughts. To the beginning of the session, when we were talking about, can I become a medium? And I pretty much put us in two different buckets, right? People that are interested, that they want to become a medium, or I really want to receive messages, and people that do not really want, but they are experiencing things that they want to understand what's going on and why, and so on. And I guess the point for can I become a medium is a lot of work to be done if you want to put that specific skill that you came with to work that will be beneficial to others. There'll be a lot of, because just going back to, for somebody to become a medium, does that mean that they need to be enlightened spirits, superior spirits? And Guilherme has mentioned that very well, that's not the case. And we have a lot of examples in the books, as a matter of fact, to give that indication and that guidance. So what is the, for someone to become a medium, the point is, why would you want to become a medium? And on top of that, more important than being a medium itself is to be a good medium. That means that you allow, or you clean enough of your perispirit and your aura, let's say, or the energy around you based on your life, that allows higher spirits to get connected to you, get closer to you, and give messages through you. But there's a lot of work behind that, which is fighting all of your negative materialistic impulses. So it's not a simple task, let's say, if you want to become a medium that brings messages to help and share with others.
Rafael, I think, let me jump in here.
Yes.
Be a medium is not a light work. No, it's not. But it's not heavy as some people may think. When we say it's not a light work, it's because we need a commitment. We have to be responsible. We need to study. We need to leave behind things that we all know is not very positive in our lives. I'm only saying that. A lot of people are not prepared to give up things they like, even when they know it's not very positive for them. But if you want to be a medium, surrounded by good spirits, by the benefactors, we need to work hard. We need to study seriously to understand what is happening with us and with the others. We need to work in charity. That's the best example I can give you. Any kind. But you need to be available to help people. People that you don't know who they are. You don't know what they need. But they know if they are in an asylum, they need something. If they are in an orphanage, they need something. Sometimes not material things, just to be there. Sometimes there are groups of people that go to hospitals to practice healing process. There's a lot of ways to work to ensure that you are surrounded by good spirits. But the opposite is also true. Being an unbalanced medium, doing everything that's not very positive to him or herself and to the others, we know what kind of friends are around you, don't you? So that's a choice to make. I want to be a medium. Why? Because there's a lot of mediums that don't need to hear, listen, or write anything. There are mediums that can give a hug to a friend when he needs. There's a medium that can teach good words for kids, go to orphanage. There's a lot of ways you can practice your mediumship without the need to be ostensive medium. So the question remains, why I want to be a medium? Because quite often, people that are extensive medium, they don't want to get serious about it. They are afraid about it. They don't want to do what they're supposed to. So what I'm saying is not to say, no, don't even try, don't go on that path. It's not like that. I'm just trying to highlight that is an important decision, and you need to be okay with that.
You brought a very good point, Guilherme, which is, and by all means, I'm gonna repeat that. The Medium's book is available. You can download and study and read it. And if you have questions and doubts, you bring the questions to us so we can all learn a bit together in the next session, in the next sessions. But by all means, if you have a feeling of anything that you might have, a sensitivity and so on, take a look at the Medium's book. You'll find ways where you could understand how you could perceive and identify if there's something there, and then look for an institution or a group that can help you out in that development. But do not be discouraged if, I'm not a medium, I don't have that or that, because as Guilherme said, the ability that we have to help others from a mediumistic perspective, which is from sharing energy, from passing intention and messages that we receive from our spiritual friends to others, is there from teaching kids or giving a lecture or so on. These are all, if this is coming from an inspiration, an exchange, or an intuition from the spiritual friends that you have around you, that is also mediumship. And going back to Munir, great words from last week. What we can and we should do is educate our skill, whatever that might be, ostensive or not. That's what I had.
Rafael, there is also something, right? Everybody thinks that they're going to join a training class or whatever. And in 2 months' time, they will be mediums. It's not like that. It can take years. I know people that were 10 years already participating in meetings and things like that. Only after 10 years, they start to develop a more ostensive characteristic. So you need to know why. If your answer is okay, it's worth it. I can tell you it's worth it. Because what you gain is not material. It's not money. It's not anything material related. Not in the Spiritism. But you gain a lot in your heart. You gain a lot with the friendship with those that you don't see. You gain a lot in experience for your own life. So I can say that I have no regrets to give away part of my time to those activities, because the feedback I have is even difficult to describe. And if you are familiar with helping people, when you just finish to help a person, the person don't even need to thank you at all. But that feeling you have, like I accomplished something, that is to be medium. That's to be a medium with Jesus, as we used to say. We feel like we accomplished something.
That is so true. I am going to start to wrap up our session today. I want to bring a last example from Elsa. She mentioned in the comment. See if I can put it in the screen again. That she mentions that my vivid dreams bring so much enlightenment in teachings for me that I'm so happy for that. It looks like somnambulist mediumship. And again, it's a very good point, Elsa, a very good example. It's another example to tell you, look, mediumship expresses itself in so many ways. Through your dreams is one of them. And go, Guilherme.
Just one tip. If you have a dream and when you wake up, that dream is very vivid in your mind, that's more than a dream.
Good point. Before I conclude, I will bring one last question from Yonke Marquez. He asks, is that correct to say that your intuition in most of the cases will lead you to become a medium? Shall we tell him? Do you want to tell him?
Yes.
You can tell him.
Yonke, I have to tell you that we all are mediums. The level of intuition we have, depending on our sensibility, and if the frequency of those intuitions is increasing or will increase eventually, is something to pay attention, because they are intuitive mediums that they receive knowledge, information, message to their intuition. So yes, let's keep an eye on it.
To conclude, I am going to bring Ebony's brilliant comment. Ebony says, Guilherme comments about the commitment for mediumship reminds me of what the Spirit Emmanuel said on what is required to uplift our vibration. which pretty much brings back the comments we were talking about, the aura, right, and our perispirit. Discipline, education, effort, and perseverance. It is a lot of work, right? It's not something that comes lighthearted to anyone. So should be something that should be treated seriously, should be something that you should be committed to, should study, and above anything, should be put to good use in terms of helping others. With that, Guilherme, I'll give you 1 minute if you want to conclude, because you have something in your mind, but we're reaching our time, but the mic is yours.
Yeah. I think we should not regret something because we haven't tried. It's one of the worst feelings you may have. In a couple of years down the road, that feeling that you could have done something, you could have started something, but you decide not to. Because eventually, that kind of feeling may hurt. And as we all know, when we return to the other side, the only thing we take with us is what we did here. We don't take any material things, any possession, but we will take every opportunity we decide to say yes to help him and the other people around us. So don't miss the opportunity. That's just a suggestion.
That is our open invitation to throw yourself into it, study, and make good use of it. Right, our time is up. I want to say thank you again to everyone that joined us. This was brilliant, and there's a lot more, I guess, we can extend in this topic. Els is asking her, can we continue this topic next week? Definitely. I think there's a lot more that we can explore. So thank you, everyone.
We have to make a deal. We have to make a deal. We can't carry on with this topic if we start to receive questions, because that will help us as well.
Absolutely. Please send your messages. Here at the end, I'm going to leave the QR code, and there's also a link in our description. If you don't feel comfortable about sharing them live, you can just send it to us anonymously, and we will incorporate and add them to the next time. So thank you, everyone, for joining, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.